Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is May 1st, 2021. My name is Teri Hunter, and I'm here with this month's Heavenly Horoscopes by Astrological Sun Sign. So before I start, I'm going to just tell you some exciting news. I have been asked to participate monthly in a new podcast called Law of Attraction. It is focused on the laws of attraction, of co-creation, of really truly empowering ourselves to be the manifestors, the creators that we are, implementing many of the teachings of Abraham. And the key words, the girls that have created this podcast, their key words are keeping it real, challenging the norms, and vibrating high. And I just think that's so exciting and something I absolutely am so thrilled to death to participate in. So we have recorded the first episode involving me. And what I'll do is I'll put a link below in the description so that you guys can click on that if you like and check it out. But I'm looking forward to doing some really exciting stuff with these two amazing women, yoga teachers and massage healers, and the two of them. Anyway, I'll tell you more about them. I just want to get to the horoscopes because I know I missed April, and that was challenging because Lucky was having some health little issues, but they're all rectified now. So for the purposes of clarification, I am doing these horoscopes whole sign Western astrology. I will infuse a lot of the things I've learned as an intuitive astrologer. I allow my intuition to lead the way. And what I'll do is I'll tell you some of the aspects that are going to be coming up this month in May. And then I'm going to go sign by sign and do a 4-card spread, or I should say a 4-position spread for each one of the signs. If you know your rising sign, look or listen to that first. If you know your moon, listen to that second, and your sun third. If you are familiar with astrology and you know you have a stellium, which is 3, really, if you want to be strict, 4 planets in one sign or house, you're going to want to listen to that too, because that is a strong focus on what part of your life path encompasses. I think that's everything I wanted to say. Lost my train of thought there for a second. All right, so let's go into the aspects of the month. Today is May 1st. And so in that being, wherever you are in the world, we are starting eclipse season. And that means that events, fated events, and not for every single human being, but many of us, there are chapters in our lives. There are things that we have contracted on a soul level to experience and to make choices as we walk through and thereby evolve. So eclipses oftentimes bring circumstances and situations and events that facilitate that contract. And we'll be seeing our first one at the end of the month, a full moon eclipse in Sagittarius, and it will be a supermoon. But we'll get to that in a minute. What I want to start with is either the second or the third, depending where you are in the world, we're going to see the sun and Saturn squared. What that means is that they are sitting in a tense conversation together. They're not necessarily agreeing, but they're not necessarily disagreeing, but they're both trying to make their point very adamantly. And so when something like this happens, we can feel our sense of identity being challenged, or we can feel depressed. We can feel defeated sometimes. Saturn can tend on its lower vibration to be restrictive, limiting, oppressive in some ways. And on its higher vibration, it can reward. Oftentimes I think about the fact that Kobe Bryant had the sun and Saturn conjunct, which means they were sitting next to each other in Virgo. And that really gave him the tenacity to work hard at who he wanted to be in the world. So during the second or the third, you may find, because the sun moves very quickly, you may find your sense of self being challenged somehow. During that same period, we have Mercury, the planet of everyday activities, communications, what you read, what you talk about, what you teach, what you listen to, very much. If you think of Mercury, it's the messenger. So every way that you get messages, everyday communications, it's going to be squaring Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's the planet of our higher beliefs, higher education, foreign travel, and foreign things. So we have two planets representing travel that are having a tense conversation with each other. So if you happen to be traveling early this month, you may want to be extra careful to make sure you have your passport and all your documents and that you need before you embark upon those things. And you also might want to be mindful of how you're speaking, and if you're speaking your truth, what you really believe, or if for some reason you might be feeling inhibited to do that. We also have Mercury entering Gemini on the 3rd or the 4th of this month, depending again where you are in the world, and that is going to be in its natural sign. So we'll start to see as Mercury moves away from Jupiter, the square becomes less of a tense conversation. Mercury will be more comfortable in its natural sign. It's also going to go retrograde at the end of the month, either the 28th or the 29th, again, depending where you are in the world, which is kind of cool because Mercury in its natural sign going retrograde. I don't know. I mean, yes, of course, you want to be cautious in signing contracts and reading things and forming partnerships. But I also think that it's a great opportunity to take advantage of the ruler of the house being in the house and to endeavor mercurial things, reaching out to people, starting before the retrograde starts. That way you can take advantage of the energy as it goes backwards to review. So any blogs you're doing or any papers you're writing or any reports you have to turn in, really be mindful of all of that as you're moving forward, and anything you want to birth on the internet or I think of Mercury more and more ruling, and Uranus, who is the actual ruler, but the internet, social media, TikTok, all these platforms. So I think that's going to be interesting this month because it will actually be in Gemini until June 11th. So we also have Venus, the planet of love, the planet of our self-worth, money, art, music, all things that feel feminine, makeup, things like that. That is going to be making a harmonious aspect called a trine to Pluto. And, Pluto's never easy. Pluto requires, doesn't like anything superficial. Wants to dig deep in every moment. So on the 5th, and I want to say this because it's a few days. Venus will be in this aspect with Pluto for a few days, maybe a week, I think. But this is a time to really reflect on what it is that makes you feel valued. If you are indeed making money the way you want to think about really digging deep into what's important to you and how you value yourself, and to enjoy more artistic things. Music calms the beast, they say. So you might want to take that into consideration. Venus will be moving into Gemini on the 9th and being there until June 2nd. So Mercury is very flirtatious, by the way, very youthful. And being there with Venus, it could really, to me, bring love affairs. It could bring flirtations. It could bring very interesting intrigues in your intimate sector. On the 11th, we have a new moon in Taurus. Now we get to the meat and potatoes of the month. This is trining Pluto. Okay, so Pluto has been in Capricorn for quite some time. So now it's making a harmonious aspect to this new moon. The moon is exalted in Taurus, which means it is in its highest vibration. It loves being there. It's also at a very, it's in Taurus, a sign that gives you a sense of stability. Taurus wants to, it's the sign of the earth, putting your feet in the ground, being in nature, taking in the the elements of harmony that nature offers us, the beautiful colors. This new moon in Pluto gives us an opportunity to dig deep into our emotional body and to start to foster the things that make us feel rooted in this earth, the things that make us feel valuable as we start to, you plant your seeds. The farmer plants his seeds in the new moon, the dark of the new moon. And then through that period before the full moon, it gives that seed an opportunity to gestate. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast that the full moon on the 26th is not only a super moon, it's an eclipse, bringing in fated events, putting some oomph in this new moon on the things of your emotional body, of your heart chakra, of the things that you love. I don't necessarily want you to know how you're going to get them or where they're coming from or what day they'll show up. I want you to start to bask in what it will feel like when you're in the experience and the sense of stability that it'll give you. Okay, then we have on Mars, on May 12th and 13th, Jupiter will move, just sneak into Pisces for a minute before it goes retrograde. And that's coming up, I think, in June. We'll talk about that more. But Jupiter is the ruling planet, ancient ruling planet of Pisces, and its expansion and spirituality and foreign ideas. And it's really a very warm energy. So you may feel a strong sense of hope and a sense of spirituality. And if we think about this new moon just a few days prior is really allowing you to feel that sense of support from spirit and from your guides and from angels and from the universe, that what you want is indeed viable. It doesn't matter how it happens. This is where miracles come in, which really aren't really miracles. They're more alignment to our own vibration, which then draws in the laws of attraction and so on. That's another topic. We have the sun going into Gemini on the 20th of May. Then we have on the 23rd, Mercury, again, the planet of communications, everyday activities, contracts, of youthfulness, of children, of school age type activities, teammates, workmates, roommates, any kind of mates that you are in cooperation with. There will be a square between Mercury and Neptune. And while Neptune rules spirituality, it also rules spirits. And it also rules water, murky things. So you may feel, Neptune asks us in some ways to be egoless. And so things may feel very murky. They may feel unclear. You may feel like you're getting communications that are actually in opposition to your own inner knowing and intuition. And so it may be a little disconcerting. I wouldn't sign any contracts whatsoever around the 23rd, 24th. I would let that energy move past because it could have to be revisited. Not to mention Mercury will be in the storm period before it goes retrograde. That storm period is where Mercury is appearing to slow down before it goes retrograde. So it's starting to gain a little bit of actually more power because of its focus on the idea of slowing down. So the 23rd, you might want to be mindful of any contract signing or making agreements, partnerships, and beware of the things you hear on the news, in the media, and things like that. Take everything a little bit with a grain of salt. On the 26th, we have the full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. This is going to be the culmination of a cycle. The full moon is always the culmination of a cycle. And oftentimes it'll go back 6 months to the new, whatever the new moon was 6 months prior. And I didn't check that, but there could be with this sense of this full moon eclipse in Sagittarius will be in a T-square to Jupiter in Pisces. And that can lead people to being a little bit overly optimistic about things, a little bit overly enthusiastic and overly spendy. So I would be very cautious of purchases that you make around the full moon lunar eclipse. And I also want to say that there's the potential that you could find that something that you very much believed in or was almost as if, I kind of want to say there's the potential that you could find out that Santa Claus is you know who and not you know who, just in case there are little ones watching this, which there shouldn't be. Because it does feel like there could be the potential that there's something you learn about something you believe that suddenly doesn't quite jive with where you're evolving to. Okay, then we have Mercury going retrograde on the 29th. We talked about that a bit earlier. And then on the last day of the month, Memorial Day, we have Mars in Cancer making a trine to Neptune in Pisces. And this, I think, is a lovely energy because even though Mars isn't so excited to be in Cancer all the time, it's so emotional, and Mars is not always emotional. It's making a good aspect. So to me, this is about an opportunity to really dig in deeper into Cancer, what makes you feel emotionally stable, emotionally loved, and Neptune in Pisces. What do you believe? How do you, Pisces is a very spiritual sign. So how do you feel? How do you honor the spirit inside of you by your emotions? How do you honor your emotions? How do you take those emotions and make them important? And so if we look at the lunar, total lunar eclipse on the 26th, full moon lunar eclipse. And we think about the idea of the moon representing our emotions, and the moon rules Cancer. It rules family. It rules home and hearth. And they say wherever your heart is where home is. So there can be a possibility that you really revisit some things about what makes you feel at home. And you're digging deeper for a higher vibrational experience, which is what this show is all about. All right, let's go on to our readings. I'm going to start with Aries and work my way towards Pisces. And what these readings are focused in on are helping you to traverse the transits that I just talked about, to help you intend and to co-create with the universe as you walk through this landscape. You know, if it was raining outside, you'd make sure to take a coat, maybe an umbrella, at least a hoodie. And if it's really sunny, you're not going to put on your ski parka. So this is what I mean when I say traverse the transits. So here we go, Aries. In our foundational position, we have the angel Ariel. In the opportunity and or the obstacle, we have Archangel Uriel. In the angel's advice, we have the angel Astera. And then in the final position, we have the angel Layla. I use a second deck. It's based on the Legend of Camelot. I'm sure you guys kind of know that, but for the newbies, there are 3 kinds of cards, and you'll see them as we go along. I married them together to get a clearer picture for you. All right, Aries, joining Ariel is the dog. Unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity. Archangel Uriel is the trust card. Joining Astera is the queen. And joining Layla is the novice. Aries, rising sun, I should say this, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I know I said from the beginning that you can check your sun sign, but for me, Aries, this is a lot more about your emotional body, because Ariel talks about new and psychic experiences changing the way you view yourself and the world at large. And then this is the dog, about love, about sincerity, and about loyalty. And I think that this is an opportunity for you, Aries, to kind of this month, this new moon, there's a very liberating feel. I didn't even talk about Uranus transiting Taurus, which is going to go on for another couple of years. But this is a liberating energy as well. Aries, you have an opportunity to rise above your anger, your frustration, your unforgiveness, your old story, and to start to trust a bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that as you are willing to receive. Aries is so action oriented. It just wants to jump out in front of the, it's the pioneer sign, it's courage, it's bravery. But sometimes Aries wants to move so fast, it misses the forest for the trees. So this is about receiving. And this is about talking to spirit and saying, I'm ready to receive the love that I want, not just from another person, not just from family, not just from your friends, but from my own self-love. I'm ready to do that. And spirit is encouraging you this month to put some spit and polish on that idea, to say, I deserve this. Because Layla is here in the final position, asking you to talk to God and the angels about your intentions and about what you want. And if you're willing to be responsible for your line of thought, if you're willing to say, I've been telling myself the same story over and over and over again, that's kicking in the laws of attraction. So you're not allowing the love that you want in, or the love that, Aries is very independent, goes by itself, a bit of a loner. So it may be very easy for you to tuck into being alone. I know I'm an Aries rising, so it's very easy for me to tuck into being alone. But we all want to feel valued and loved in this world. And as you surrender that to spirit this month, as you start to say, I'm done with this story of undeserving, that I'm too angry, or I'm too this, and I'm willing to start to trust that I am enough and I am a loving person. And that courage I possess has evolved from something that was a knee-jerk reaction to something I intentionally choose to use. Because in the angels' advice, they're telling you to reach for the stars and to assume the position of reception. Look how relaxed she is. And it's not going to be easy for you, Aries, because here's the unstable new beginning. But it starts with contemplating what you want versus where you've been, telling the new story instead of the old story. And it may not be easy, but if anybody has the courage and tenacity to do it, you do. Well, Capricorn does too, because they can do things they don't like. All right, let's go on to our Tauruses, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Here we go. All right. Taurus, this is your month. This is your birthday. Happy birthday. And this is your new moon. And it is a beautiful thing. Use it wisely and bravely, because the eclipse is coming. All right, Taurus. Our first angel is Rosetta. The second is Teresa. The third is Fiona. And the final is Astera. All right, Rosetta is being joined by the Bee card. Teresa is being joined by the Goblin. Fiona is being joined by the Focus card. And Astera is being joined by the Dragon. Okay. So Rosetta talks about parenting, teaching, guiding children, and there's the Bee, which is about good luck and an industry, about, kind of staying in the lane. And I want to offer this because when I look at this spread, the first thing I thought for Taurus is that you start this month kind of excited. It's your birthday month. You're ready to rock and roll. And then I'm not so sure that there isn't a little bit of a sidestep here, because Teresa talks about other people, talks about worrying about other people, considering them before yourself. And here's the ego card. This is your opportunity and or your obstacle. One of the underlying themes going on for Taurus for, been the last couple of years and got a few years to go is Uranus transiting. And Uranus is going to go retrograde. Yes, retrograde. I have the dates written down. But anyway, the point is that Uranus represents liberation, sudden events, things that shock us, that surprise us, that give us a little bit of an electric prod. And I feel like for Taurus, this month is about really choosing you and how you want to show up for you, and to be mindful of your inner child, you know, because Taurus is a stubborn streak and my moon is Taurus, and emotionally, um, sometimes I can be like, I can feel a fake apology. And I feel like on some level, you might have to uh, really focus in on if you did get a real apology to accept it. But also, I think this is more about playing to other people's egos and depriving yourself of what you want. Because in the angel's advice is Fiona saying, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. You deserve heaven's help. And then there's the focus card. And I think that's where you're supposed to put your heart. You're supposed to enjoy this time with your communal with spirit, your being energy, to connect to the inner child in a way that doesn't doubt, that gets in the car on its way to Disneyland and doesn't ask dad if he's making the right turns, but if they're there yet. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Because Astera is saying, reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and don't compromise. And then there's the dragon. The dragon is about power and strength, but this is a cool energy. There is no resistance here. She is not forcing anything. And so I think when I go back here to the focus, and then I look at it in relation to Teresa and the goblin, it may be a challenge for you not to consider other people's feelings. Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus rules Libra as well. And so, you know, when you're ruled by Venus, you want people to love you. It's just the way it goes. And I feel like you have to love yourself, and then they can catch up later. Sometimes if you make a decision based on the committee, if you ask too many people, then you're going to get drowned out in it. So I feel like try to be most authentic to what's real for you, and then to continue to connect with spirit, because this eclipse that's coming at the end of the month can be the end of something that wasn't working, that starts something that is. The human naturally goes to the dark side when you say the word ending. And then they drive to work and say, I wish I wasn't working at this job anymore. I wish I didn't have this bad boyfriend or this bad girlfriend or this awful home life. So, you know, endings are new beginnings. All right, let's go on to our Geminis. All right, Gemini, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I know I started this broadcast saying I was going to focus on the sun, but I can't get that saying. It's just the way I roll. So I really hope you'll check your birth time and find out your rising sign, because the moon moves very quickly, the sun moves very quickly, and your rising sign can change. My niece and nephew are born a few moments apart, and their rising signs are very different, and they're very different, but every other planet is the same. So, okay. For our Geminis, our first angel is Francesca. The second is Sonia. The third is Fiona. And the final is Shanti. That's Lucky in the background, digging under my desk, because he loves to do that. There's no room back there for him to sit up and dig, but he manages. All right, Gemini, here we go. Francesca is being joined by the deer. Sonia is being joined by the partnership card. Fiona is being joined by the water fairy. And Shanti is being joined by the wealth card. Gemini, this is so interesting to me, because when I look at this, the partnership card would indicate, obviously, cooperation between two parties. But when I look at it, the first thing I thought was that for those of you that are single Geminis, I think you may have been talking yourself out of love or out of a relationship right now, or focusing on other things. And I feel like if you dug deep, I talked earlier about Pluto trining this new moon. I think it was the new moon. Let me look at my notes real quick, because this is going to dig up some stuff in your emotional body. And on the 6th, Venus is trining Pluto. So hold on, where's that moon thing? My moon. Yes, the new moon is going to trine Pluto. That's it, on the 11th. So this is why I'm saying this to you, Gemini, because Francesca's saying, what do you desire right now? Negativity will block your progress. Well, just because you haven't received what it is you want doesn't mean it isn't coming. And now it's time to truly exercise gentleness and diplomacy in that thought, because this partnership is with spirit. In order for you to receive what you want, to manifest, to co-create, to enjoy the life you want, it's time to connect with spirit. Because in the angels' advice is Fiona saying, now that you ask God and the angels for help, be open to receiving their guidance. And there's the water fairy. It's time to tune in and to allow the twins to align versus going back and forth, because what spirit is offering you is harmonious wealth and peace. And this peace comes from the inner knowing that you are connecting with spirit. Now let's take this a little deeper, Gemini. You're ruled by Mercury. Mercury rules thoughts. It rules what we speak of. It rules what we teach. So there's this saying called, that which I think of creates at one level. That which I think of and speak of creates at another level. That which I think of, speak of, and do is made manifest in my world. So if indeed, whatever, whether it be a job, whether it be a relationship, whether it be $1 million, I don't really care what it is, speaking of it, not in the challenge of it, not in the uphill climb of it, but in the enjoyment of it, in the sitting in it, in the basking of it. And if you cannot do that, then stay in neutral. Do your best to stay in neutral. I don't want you to freak out about your thoughts, because, you can think about something for 17 seconds before you start creating a momentum. And the amount of time you spend thinking about something indicates its momentum. If you're complaining endlessly about your love life, you are co-creating that experience. So if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. That's what they used to say. All right, let's go on to our Cancers, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. All right, here we go. Our first angel is Archangel Uriel. The second is Maya. The third is Athena. And the final is Bethany. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the Fire Fairy. Maya is being joined by the Baird. Athena is being joined by the High Priestess. And Bethany is being joined by Love. Cancer, my lovely, lovely Cancers. It's time to stop being frustrated. It's time to be optimistic. It's time to stop telling the sad, bad when story, because Archangel Uriel is helping you with unforgiveness, with frustration, with impatience, with feeling defeated. And the Fire Fairy is saying it's time to be optimistic. It's time to be positive. It's time to have creative ideas. And you know what, Cancer? God bless you. Love you so much. But you're learning a lot about the story that you're telling. The Baird is storytelling. It's music. It's lyrical. It's your history. And there's Maya. Schooling and education is very important to you. And I want to say this because, the moon rules home and hearth and family, and it's so intuitive, but it's not always naturally intuitive from a place of security, because it rules motherhood. It rules parents in some ways. And so you're naturally vulnerable when you bring children into this world, which puts you on high alert. Okay, that's the normal human. But Spirit is asking Cancer to lovingly assert yourself into the vision of what you want, and to trust your inner knowing, because you're rewriting the story. And now it's time to believe in love and to show self-love to you while you go through the process of recalibrating. And when I say recalibrating, I mean it this way. I feel like Cancer has an inner knowing that things are starting to align to where you want to go. Things are opening up in the world. We're starting to feel a sense of new normal. And so this is an opportunity, and Pluto's going to do this on the new moon when it trines it, for you to really transform your story and have it work for you rather than be the sad story that you keep telling. And to start to tell that new story will draw in those experiences much more quickly than you would imagine, because Bethany and self-care is not just about loving yourself and taking care of yourself and getting a manicure. It's the deep self-care of believing that I didn't come in this world to not experience home and hearth. I did not come here as a Cancer rising moon, sun, or stellium. If you have a Cancer stellium, absolutely, family is all, you're all about family, all about motherhood or fatherhood and loving and nurturing and caring for others. So it's time for you to care for yourself by believing that all of that's coming. And if for some reason you have those things and they've been challenged, then this is an opportunity to come in alignment, to allow your situation to evolve past where it's been and to start to tell that story, and then watch the powers of co-creation click into place. And it may not be easy at first. People may be like, you've always been this way, so this is the story I'm going to tell. But that doesn't mean you have to fall for it. You could show them something different. And in doing so, it builds your confidence to trust that you are being taken care of. And your frustrations will end when you spend time in a creative energy and get excited about that. All right, let's go on to our Leos, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I've not met many people with a Leo stellium, now that I think about it, or I haven't seen many charts with one. Okay, Leo. Our first angel is Daniel, the angel of marriage. The second is Merlina. The third is Azure. And the final is Caressa. All right, Daniel is being joined by the Wasp. Ooh, that's not fun. Merlina's being joined by the Queen. Azure's being joined by the Earth Fairy. And Caressa's being joined by the Dragon. Okay, Leo, Daniel is the angel of marriage and represents partnership. But what Daniel really represents is the story you tell yourself, the story you've experienced, your history in love, and asking you to allow that history to be what it is and to afford a new dynamic with new partners coming in. Because the Wasp here is telling me that the story you have about marriage is not good. There's anger, frustration, retaliation, jealousy. Everybody knows the Wasp you want to avoid at all costs. And if Leo, this is the funny thing, Leo represents romance, fun. It's ruled by the sun, which rules the whole zodiac. So I think it's time to claim yourself back. And I'm saying that because the Queen represents not a feminine energy as in man and woman, but a receptive energy. And Merlina says that you're indecisive, that you need to do more research. This tells me that Leo may have been too much of a leader in some respects, and it's time to sit back and allow a higher vibration to start to bring to you what you have not experienced yet in love. And I want to say this too, because I'm getting the very strong feeling that this may have something to do with Leos that have been previously married. And if you had a bad marriage, it does not mean you'll have a bad second marriage. It means you should learn from your first marriage what does and does not work for you. Because Azure in the angel's advice is saying that your desired outcome will happen in the near future. And here's the opportunity for a new grounding, for a new foundation with a partner to receive a partner in the way that you want one. And I'm going there. Yes, I am. Because Caressa says you're at the end of a life cycle. And this is the dragon. And again, I'm never going to stop seeing how cool and collected she is as she asserts herself towards the happiness that she wants. The end of this stingy story. And let me tell you this, if you're dating somebody or you're married to somebody who's straight up stingy, maybe it's time to start to think about, do I want to continue down this path? Is this course correctable? Because if it is indeed, this energy is not to be muddled with, not to be fuddled with, not to be trifled with. It's very palatable. And it is either coming from Leo or their partner. And if it is coming from Leo, then I would really ask you to put down your stinger so that you can start to clear the air and find out if indeed this relationship or your thought process about relationship. If you're a single Leo, you may feel, I've been burned. I don't want to do this again. I'm not doing this again. And it's that focus. I'm not doing that again. Because if you think about it, all you're invested in is what you want to avoid. And then the laws of attraction kick in. And the next person you're actually attracted to seems nice on the outside and is a total wasp on the inside. So assert yourself, Leo. It's okay to still love love. It's okay to still love everything. And now just be willing to keep your eyes open and willing to look at your own participation in the situation. All right, let's go on to our Virgos, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Take a quick sip of my tea. Our first angel Virgo is Rosetta. The second is Oceana. The third is Francesca. And the final is Archangel Raphael. Joining Rosetta is the Wealth card. Joining Oceana is the Joy card. Joining Francesca is the Deer. And joining Archangel Raphael is the Grail Knight. All right, my Virgos. I want to say this because I don't look at Rosetta as children for the most part, because this is potentially broadcast to so many people that that feels like a more personal message. For me, Rosetta is the inner child. And what are you teaching your inner child? How are you guiding your inner child? How are you parenting your inner child? And Virgo, now is a time for your inner child to start to have some fun. There's harmonious wealth. And I want to offer it this way, because it's not about giving away or throwing away some of the more practical dynamics of being a Virgo. The child appreciates structure. The child likes to know when mom's coming home or when dinner is, or those kind of things. But I do feel like this opportunity, Taurus represents the earth that we stand on, our security. We have this new moon and our eclipse at the end of the month, which is very much asking you to, it's in Sagittarius, by the way. So it's going to ask you to have foreign ideas, to go into foreign lands. And I believe those foreign lands are joy. To see the purity of the journey versus the perfection of seeking. You know, I feel like it's about really allowing yourself to rise up in the vibration of joy. And what that does for you is a healing, really, physical and mental and emotional. Because here you start to see, what do I visualize? I've been trying to be perfect. I've been trying to be so perfect that I haven't even been gentle with myself. I haven't even acknowledged all the amazing things that I have accomplished, or that I have done, or that I've triumphed over. Because when I look at this, the Grail Knight is oftentimes romance, but it's seeking the sacred. And he holds the cup, the Grail, the Holy Grail. There's the sword Excalibur. And then here's Archangel Raphael. You're healed because you finally are starting to understand that the journey is not of perfection. It's not of doing it right. It's not about doing it wrong. It's about making the best choices in any given moment. with the information that you have. So I think that this month is providing Virgo opportunities to really start to enjoy themselves. And I want to say this too. This is not what other people enjoy. It's what you enjoy. So if you enjoy Sunday morning with no conversation and a crossword puzzle, do it. All right, let's go on to our Libras. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. All right, Libra, our first angel is Astera. The second is Akasha. The third is Archangel Uriel. And the final is Adriana. Astera is being joined by the dog. Akasha is being joined by the serpent. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the novice. And Adriana is being joined by the truth. All right, Libra, here we go. Love, loyalty, and sincerity within the dog's energy. And then we have Astera saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and not to compromise. When I look at this, I feel like this is much more about love in general than I do think about intimate love. I know that Libra represents partnerships, but it also represents diplomacy, cooperation, harmony, art. And I say art because Venus rules Libra. So things that are beautiful, things that are feel luxurious. And I feel like there's a little bit of the Libra energy that is wanting to call forth experiences of that harmonious wealth with friends, with family, with more than just one individual experience. It feels much bigger to me because in the opportunity and or the obstacle is Akasha, the teacher, and then the serpent, which is about knowledge and healing. And I think sometimes Libra tends to be the fixer, tends to see both sides of a situation. And that's why Akasha represents the ability to counsel. But in this particular situation, Libra, I think it's about counseling yourself. And in doing so, affording yourself the same balance, the same privileges in love that you would someone else. Because Libra can be a little passive aggressive. I can say that I'm a Libra sun. And I say it because they don't like conflict. They don't want to engage. They don't want to disappoint other people. So they kind of stuff things sometimes. And this is where I think you'll actually start to feel better is if you stop counseling people who don't ask for your counsel, or to stop counseling people that don't listen to your counsel. If you have friends, family, and they're saying the same thing over and over again and they want to talk about it and you try to coach them out of it and they won't listen, stop. Because this is about you, Libra, and you allowing yourself your balance so that you can then demonstrate and example that for others. Because here we have the truth and we have Adriana saying that she's leading you towards the answers to your prayers. And what your prayers are is about people on your level, to be able to have mutually exchanging conversations, not conversations where you do all the listening and they do all the talking, or whatever the dynamic may be. So start that conversation. Thank you, God and the angels, for bringing me my tribe. Thank you for bringing me people to enjoy conversations that I feel heard and I enjoy listening. All right, let's go on to Scorpio. Scorpio's ruling planet, Pluto, is having quite a few conversations with Venus and with the new moon. I'm sorry. Yeah, new moon. Yep. I messed that up a couple times. All right, here we go, Scorpio. The angel of peace, Shanti, is in the foundational position. Oceana is in the opportunity or the obstacle. Omega is in the angel's advice. And Chantal is in the final position, the angel of romance. I just want to say for you Scorpios and anybody else who's listening, when you hear about a full moon and you hear about the ending of something, I want you to think what your knee-jerk reaction is. And if it's a challenge, meaning, oh my God, something bad's going to end, or something I love is going to end, because it could be the end of something you don't love that brings you into something you love. Shanti, the angel of Shanti, is being joined by the love card. Oceana is being joined by the earth fairy. Omega is being joined by the spider. And Chantal is being joined by the queen. My Scorpio. Scorpio, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Shanti is the angel of peace. And this is what I want to say. I feel like you have an opportunity not only to be peaceful, but to enjoy peace in love. And I want to say this is like a little bit about, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and in ancient times Mars. But Pluto's like an excavator. It wants to dig deep. It wants to know everything that's going on underneath the surface. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? I feel like your opportunity this month is to actually go to the surface. Don't try to dig deep. Just keep swimming to the surface. This will give you a new foundation. This is where you will see victory in partnership. Because sometimes if you excavate too much, you just pick at a scab and it never gets to heal. But I believe that love is either on the docket for you. There's the queen. This is all about reception and fertility. And Chantal. Chantal represents either new love or resurgence in an existing relationship, and that is imminent. Imminent is not an if or a maybe. It's an absolute. So as you stand as the agent of peace and love, and you kind of enjoy a little bit of a different thing, feeling your emotions, and rather than excavating deeply, allowing those emotions to rise in a joyful way, in a happy way, in a knowing way, trusting what you know intuitively versus saying it out loud and looking for someone else to validate it, because their behavior will start to validate it, because there's victory. And this is my partnership card. It's also my real estate card, but it's my partnership card. And again, there's the queen receiving love. And if you're a man, this is not about a woman. This is about reception. So it could be applicable to you as well. All right, let's go on to our Sagittariuses. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Shuffle. Our first angel is Celeste for Sagittarius. The second is Ray. The third is Xana. And the final is Daniel. Oh, doing well with my shuffling. All right, Celeste is being joined by the dog. Ray is being joined by the disruption card. Xana is being joined by the butterfly. And Daniel's being joined by the Lady of the Lake. All right, Sagittarius, this is interesting because Celeste talks about a new move to a new home or a new place of employment, ushering in new love, new energy, happiness. And then you have the dog. The dog represents unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity. And I want to take it this way because I think that Sagittarius, I want to, on some level, I want to go to intimate love, but I feel like I have to make this about two things for Sagittarius, because I do think this is about having a job you love. living in a place that you love, having a job that you love, because you're married to those things. Whether you know it or not, you go there 40, 45, 50 hours a week, who knows? And with emails and having, never having the leash of your phone, you want to make sure you love what you're doing. And I say this for Sagittarius because in the final position is Daniel, the angel of marriage, and then there's the Lady of the Lake. And so this is why I'm tending to go more professionally than I am personally, because to me, this is about having the courage to know my value. And when I endeavor a new job, not only do I want to look for something I love, but I want to be brave enough to speak of what I know I am capable of. And even if I haven't experienced it, knowing my abilities, because I think that Sagittarius is going to have to stretch themselves a little bit. And I say that because this feels a little bit like you're at a crossroads, or you're at a fork in the road, which maybe these eclipses, the beginning of eclipse season, would indicate. So, and I know we're going into a Mercury retrograde. I mentioned that too, but I want you to start to really think about how you spend your time and how you spend your day, and do you love it? Because there could be a potential for a disruption, like if you find yourself, if this eclipse somehow you lose your job, I wouldn't freak out about it. I would say that's spirit telling you didn't love that job anyway, and we'll make sure you pay your bills, because you're being protected and you're being asked to blossom. You're being asked to step into the beauty. That's what this card represents on the face of it, beauty. And we know the butterfly is a transformation. And that transformation is to truly marry yourself to something that you find reciprocal, where you're respected and your opinion is respected, and it's shown through money, not just fake titles that don't mean anything but more responsibility. So that's where I'm going to go with that. If indeed you're happy in your job, then I would say that this could very much be about intimate love and shifting your perspective on love. I've often said that you can put me anywhere on the planet. You could give me a new home, you could put me in a new job, but I have a certain way of thinking. And if I don't shift the way I'm thinking, I'm not going to experience anything different. And now, so this could be for Sagittarius, shifting the way you think about love. And even though you've experienced disruption in love, it's now time to really sit in meditation and to put up your beam, your power center. This would be where your diaphragm is. This is your power chakra, your heart chakra, and your voice, your throat chakra. You put all that, this is what I'm willing to do. I'm brave enough to speak of what I want and allow whatever disruption of the old pattern, because I know that I'm going through transformation of unraveling an old story, and that spirit is protecting me. And my job is to have courage in my choices, not to go back to my old story. Because every time you start dating somebody, it's fine. I like you, don't like you. But when you start to actually like someone, you become vulnerable. And that's when everything kind of starts to get a little wonky. So this is about having courage, Sagittarius. Courage to speak your truth. And if you're in an existing relationship, it's the same thing. The courage to speak your truth and to think how you're speaking it. Because if you speak it cooperatively, I'm sure you'll get cooperative response. All right, let's go on to our Capricorns. Okay. Just smell the candle go out. All right. Capricorn, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. If you have a stellium in Capricorn, what house is that in? Because that's going to be very, very influential and very indicative of, or indicating of what your life path here in this lifetime. All right, Capricorn. Our first angel is Grace and Antoinette. The second is Azure. The third is Maya. And the final is Akasha. Capricorn is represented by the goat. And so often we don't see the baby goats. We see the old goats. We don't, that's how Capricorn is depicted. And I think that's because Capricorn can be restrictive and represents old age, stone, things that are dry. But it also represents tenacity and determination and a willingness to persevere beyond what I enjoy in order to succeed. So Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the King, Capricorn. Azure is being joined by the Horse. Maya is being joined by Merlin. And Akasha is being joined by the High Priestess. Okay, Capricorn, I very much want to say that this is a kind of a time when I feel like it's about having compassion for yourself as you step into this time of owning your life. And this is obviously the King is a male energy, but it's very much about things pertaining to the law, justice, and karma. And this compassion card is something that Capricorn is not great at. And I'm not going to say every Capricorn lacks compassion, because again, you have dynamics within your chart that are going to, indicate other things reflecting in your personality. But when you isolate Capricorn, it very much doesn't care whether you're happy. It just wants to get the job done. And I think this is where the compassion comes in, because I'm going to go into the final position for Capricorn. This is Akasha, the spiritual teacher. And there's the High Priestess, which represents an inner knowing. And I think Spirit is trying to teach you something. And part of that is compassion as you move in the direction of your own drummer. The Horse is really moving towards Azure, and Azure saying your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Don't force it. Capricorn will force something to make it happen, even if it's not the right thing sometimes, but they were told to do it. So now you're learning about how you actually manifest. And this again represents justice, balance, and alchemy in the angel's advice. So there's something very strong for Capricorn. This is a just and fair time for you to learn about compassion as you move away from obligation, move away from what's expected of you, move away from what you do not like, but you do anyway, and give yourself permission to put your heart first, your wants, your desires, your enjoyment. All right, let's go into Aquarius. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel for Aquarius is Akasha, the teacher. The second is Isabella. The third is Archangel Michael. And the final is Adriana. Aquarius, Akasha is being joined by Merlin. Isabella is being joined by the Serpent. Archangel Michael is being joined by the Earth Fairy. And Adriana is being joined by the Disruption card. The first thing I want to say is disruption is the doorway to your dreams. Akasha is the spiritual teacher, and I believe that you, Aquarius, are learning something about alchemy. I believe that you're learning about how, for me, I always think of it as the coal that goes into that pressurized situation that comes out a multifaceted light being. Uranus rules Aquarius, and Uranus rules liberation, freedom, individuality, and the freedom to be an individual, and then brings all those lessons back into humanity, into the collective. It's a very interesting sign, and it's in the opposition to Leo, which is about self-creation. So these two signs have, to me, very much a cooperative conversation, even though they're opposing each other. So I want to say for Aquarius, there's a time of pressure, but you're learning something about that pressure because it's an opportunity to shed a new skin and to actually take and incorporate all the things you have already been evolving into. Because now the Spirit is saying it's time for you to make this a new earth, the courage to set your foot on a new ground, and the ground of the evolved version of yourself. And yes, this is leading you towards your happiness, but it may disrupt other people who have gotten to know you in a certain way. But you may teach them through that disruption, through that breaking of the old, which is what Uranus does, and allowing it to become the new norm. That I matter, my dreams matter, what I want to experience matters. And if indeed I allow for that, aren't I in some ways allowing you the same privileges? So I think we are going into the age of Aquarius. I think Aquarius is leading the pack. And while we may feel alien sometimes in birthing all these innovations and all this new technology and all these new ideas and ways of of relating to one another. I believe if you trust yourself, you will actually experience something very sweet. So let's go on to our final sign, Pisces. See what Spirit has to say for our little fishies. Our first angel is Celeste. The second is Maya. The third is Oceana. And the final is Archangel Michael. All right, Celeste is being joined by the forgiveness card. Maya is being joined by the dog. Oceana is being joined by the disruption card. And Archangel Michael is being joined by the partnership card. All right, Pisces. Mercury will go retrograde at the end of this month. So we'll address this later, but I want to say this. Celeste represents a new home, a new place of employment. And more times than not, you'll hear me refer to it as a shift in the way I'm thinking, because wherever you put me, I think a certain way and I take my actions based on that. So I believe that you're going to shift how you're thinking and forgive something. You're going to allow it to be something more than it has been and evolve past it, because you're going to learn about how you love and how you participate in your experiences and how your energetic flow is a co-creation of some kind, because the angels are asking you to do something a little bit different. They're asking you to put your needs, make them important. And that may be something that feels very disruptive for you, but it's time to follow yourself through the oceans, up to the stars, to your soul's destiny, because Archangel Michael is with you. And I want to offer this too. You may be just mad at your partner or mad at partnership in general, but I believe that this is very much Archangel Michael giving you the courage to forgive, and thereby becoming not only a better partner to those around you, but a partner to yourself and an agent of spirit to work with God and the angels. Pisces is a very spiritual sign. It rules the 12th house. It's where the soul has an opportunity to go into retreat and reflect, and thereby have epiphanies and revelations that serve not only themselves, but all of humanity. And God knows who else out there. So to me right now, this is a very much an opportunity for Pisces to think about this new moon and birthing something in the dark that then will be able to be culminated with the Sagittarian full moon eclipse at the end of the month. So it may feel a little daunting the way I'm saying this, but it feels very liberating, and it feels very connected. It's almost as if as you perpetrate this forgiveness or this attitude of reconciliation, that the parties around you follow suit, and thereby, in many ways, have the courage to validate you as well. All right, that's it for me for this month. Merry, merry month of May 2021. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I want to thank you for watching this broadcast. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and comment. And yeah, that's all I got to say. If you'd like to book a reading with me, my information is below. I'm here, I'm available. It's my life's work, and it's what I love. Sending love to you. May you all have a peaceful and a wonderful month.